Welcome back to my bedroom. If it wasn't obvious by me talking about it all of the time now, I'm going to zenkaikon, March 22nd through 24th in Lancaster. I don't know which days I'm going to be there the longest or if I'm going all 3 days at all, but I have the weekend pass, so I will be present. Because I like to make things harder for myself, we started a new cosplay project. There's a Critical Role meetup happening, so I decided to cosplay Yasha. Oh, no, not that Yasha. That's way beyond my skill level. This Yasha. Figured it would be easy and comfortable to walk around in all day. As of right now, I have a little under 3 weeks to get everything I need to done for this. And it shouldn't be that hard because right now I have all of spring break, which is 6-ish days to get the bulk of the work done and then do the rest of my dorm. This here is priority number 1 because I have to do the least amount of work on it. This is an Artawigs Wesleyan White, pretty much entirely pre-styled, but needs some trimming, a wash, and just a tiny bit of styling with these bangs because I don't think the part is in the right place. I can easily get this done in 1 day, so that might be today's goal, even. We'll see.
Wig styling was, in fact, the easiest part of this entire process. Off-screen, I washed the wig, and here I'm brushing it out, first with a thick comb, and then with a finer comb to get all of the hairs separated so they don't dry stuck to each other or in any weird positions. Plus, this also helped get any of the loose dirt that might have still been stuck in the wig, despite me giving it a very thorough wash, out. Then came a quick trim. Despite this being otherwise perfect in every other aspect of the style, the front parts were just a little too long for my face and made it difficult to move my head or see. So I thought evening them out would be beneficial and also more accurate to Yasha's hairstyle. For an extra bit of volume and visibility, I sectioned out this bang in front of my left eye and hair dried it so the heat would allow it to stay up. Off screen, I hairsprayed it and teased it just so it had a little bit of a curve to it. And here's what she looks like. It's a little off-center in this photo, but I think it turned out pretty good.
Day 2, we're working on the shirt that needs to be altered drastically. This was $2 at a thrift store and it feels like plastic. So I'm going to repurpose this into something better than cheaply made fast fashion that might not have gotten loved otherwise. Sitting on my couch because I want to watch TV while I'm working on this because the first part is going to be pretty mundane. I'm just going to chop this sleeve off and rehem the end so it doesn't fray. Very straightforward. Jesus! I need to be very careful not to follow the needle as I am watching Percy and Cass being tortured. Orthax reveal. Orthax reveal. Woohoo! I'm glad Scanlan got punished for his horniness in the later arcs of this campaign, because it does kind of get obnoxious at times. Maybe I should be paying a little more attention to the TV. Oop, undead fight.
Action-packed episode aside, the short sleeve was pretty straightforward. The long sleeve required me adding pattern pieces made out of the scrap black fabric, and most of the footage I got was either way out of frame or was mostly comprised of me doing this. So, to make up for that, I instead drew out this very helpful diagram showing how I fixed this sleeve. First, I made pattern pieces for around my bicep and my wrist. Then I cut the fitted end of the sleeve off so there was more room to sew it on. I pinned the pattern pieces individually to where they would go. I messed up how wide they needed to be as I sewed them on and ended up ripping it all apart and being miserable for a little bit because it was very frustrating. But after sewing it all back together, it was fine.
Took me 6 days, but not only is it done, but it's done correctly. Hallelujah.
With that darn shirt out of the way, I got everything I wanted to accomplish during spring break done.
A lot of things to get done today and tomorrow. First order of business is to try to turn this piece of cardboard into the scald saber. I'm a little worried about that.
So here's the fun fact. If you want some structural integrity in your cosplay prop weapons, don't use lots of strips of scrap cardboard. This originally was the box that my wig came in, and I thought that the shape would be perfect for the scald saber, but it in fact was not. It took about a half hour and several teeny weeny strips to get all of the parts to stay in place the way that I wanted to, and way more Gorilla Glue stains than I am willing to admit. My poor, poor fingers. Anywho, once that was out of the way, I painted the entire thing red. It looked pretty promising when it was just in its base cardboard stage, but a whole lot of paint later, the color was not exactly where I wanted it to be, and when I finally picked it up when it was all dry, it just was not working out the way that I wanted to, so I decided to just scrap it.
I don't like it. Boo. So I'm an adult, right? So when the data scraping people at Meta want to advertise stuff to me, they'll advertise stuff that's usually meant for adults, like whiskey and stuff, right? That I don't mind, because I am apparently a target demographic, but lately I've been getting a lot of ads for lingerie and kink wear, and I was wondering why, and then I remembered. Because I ordered this. This being the harness and wings that are going to really pull the look together, that I'm not even using for anything sexual. Of course it's Amazon, so it's not going to be the best leather in the world, but it's literally all I could afford. I have no idea how this even goes on my body. Okay, so this is the front. That's the back. The back is what we're concerned about right now. I'm going to make some alterations to these wings.
The wing paint is incredibly self-explanatory. I did the upper feathers in a silver coat and the lower feathers in a layer of white. This is because at this point in the series, Yasha is a protector ASMR and has white, shiny wings. And I thought the pure black base would work better for alterations like this than white. And just look at how freaking cool the finished result looks. It is a little patchy, I noticed, but it's my favorite part of this entire piece. I love it. This is how it fits loosely on my body. It was a little weird trying it on with this outfit, but it fit.
Massive failure of a sort aside, I think that's all of the costume pieces, which is a relief. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it all done. And I have 8-ish days to spare, so yay! Oh, we're already going, cool. Bald time. I wanted to get at least one makeup test run in before the convention, which is now a week away. So I'm going to figure out some scar patterns.
I went through about 5 different color swatches for these scars because recently I had a yucky case of pink eye and my concealer, which I usually use for these things, was one of the unlucky pieces of makeup that got infected. So I had to throw it away and look through all of my neutral toned eyeshadows to find something that would work in its stead. The facial scars were much easier to place than the arm scars. I had to keep twisting my arm around into some really weird positions, and as you can see, I also keep looking off screen at my laptop because I had the Critical Role wiki pulled up and was looking back and forth at different references at Yasha's arms. I had to improvise a little bit because I knew I wasn't going to be 100% accurate, and my arm did feel empty in some places, so I felt like there needed to be a little bit of razzle-dazzle, or whatever the kids call it these days. The rest of the face makeup was pretty easy. I used black powder to create the illusion of winged eyeliner and dark circles under my eyes. It was just a lot easier for me to apply than an actual eyeliner pen. Then I added a little bit of blue and purple eyeshadow on my respective eyes to allude to Yasha's heterochromia. I don't like the way contacts feel in my eyes, so I wanted to do that in place of how contacts would be. I used an indigo eyeliner pen to draw out where Yasha's war paint on her lip would be. It didn't go on as cleanly as I would have liked, so I covered it up with the same blue powder that I used on my eyes, and it came across in the correct thickness and hue that I wanted it to. Here are the finishing touches. I'm hooking on the harness the correct way. It felt a lot better than when I put it on with the Jigglypuff t-shirt because, well, it matched. And also I tightened it so it would correctly stay around my waist. I do have skin exposed, but luckily it doesn't sink far enough that it touches my skin. Then all I had to do was adjust the wig properly, and we had a look. Ooh, damn. I think this looks good. I think this is gonna be pretty cute when we bring her to the convention. Next to impossible to get a full body shot. This freaking camera. Try so hard. This is it! I'm very happy that this turned out the way that I envisioned it in my head, pretty much. I was very worried that because there were so many different intricate little parts to it that it wasn't going to add up to what I was hoping it was going to look like, but it did. In the week I have before I'm debuting this at the convention, I'm probably going to do a makeup test on my arm again to try to get the scar placement a little better. And I might add another layer of white to the wings because it's a little choppy in some places. But other than that, we have a Yasha. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do whatever it is you feel so inclined to do, and if you are attending zenkaikon 2024 and you see someone that looks like this, that's me. Say hi. I don't know how to end this, I don't know. Love ya. I smell like a crayon.